Good evening. My name is Christian Haskins, and today I'll be presenting my research paper on Henry Fayol and his 14 management principles. At a young age, the age of 19, Henry Fayol worked at a coal mine in France. Throughout many years of hard work and determination, he was able to climb his way up the ranks to director. And throughout many years of working at the coal mine, he eventually would go up the chain of command. And when he did this, the responsibilities would pile up. A lot of people expected him to manage well because in a coal mine type environment where it's very busy, loud, and often compact, there's not a lot of room for mistakes because lives can be lost. You're dealing with explosives. You're dealing with all these kinds of things. 2 years before Henry Fayol steps down as director of the coal mine he's been working at his entire life. In 1916, he releases a book called Administration Industrielle et Grenale. That's the best pronunciation I can give you. However, I believe it is in French, and in this, he gives us the 14 principles of management. Public management plays a huge role in public administration because it is the process that things go about in an organizational setting, usually in business or institutional in schools, in the government, in many ways of life, in everyday balances and work, in average work days, in average settings. Public management is about the productivity that one can create within an organizational setting, within a business environment. And there have been many studies and many theorists that have developed different theories and reasons and explanations and ways to best accomplish or best be productive within this kinds of settings. We see Henry Fayol's development of the 14 management principles at a very early stage, so early that it's often thought as the founding aspects of management. These principles are highly regarded in every sense of the way and are still used today, but less commonly because of it's just common sense. It's known as the way it has always been now. Henry Fayol's 14 principles of management include 1. Division of work, 2. Authority, 3. Discipline, 4. Unity of command, 5. Unity of direction, 6. Subordination of individual interest to the general interest, 7. Remuneration, 8 is centralization, 9 is scalar chain, 10 order, 11 equity, 12 is stability of tenure of personnel, 13 is initiative, and lastly 14 is esprit de corps. It is important to note that Henry Fayol's opinion or theory was founded on that productivity relied on a whole organizational effort, and that humans were processing elements, and doing so was almost a reward for them. There's a certain amount of reliability. It's like a community. All the workers rely on each other, and without that, there's no productivity that can happen. But these 14 principles are guidelines or rules to maintain or balance or direct the direction that the business is wanting to go in. Fayol's first principle of management is division of work, and this is when employees are specialized, meaning that these employees are skilled and efficient enough to increase the output because of their ability to perform. These people are often leaders, big thinkers. They have a tenacity to get things done, and like I said, they all rely on each other. The second is authority, and managers must have the authority to give orders, but they must also keep in mind that with authority comes responsibility. Fayol hits on the authority principle pretty hard in the research I've done, and it's because oftentimes managers are not given the power or the ability to lead or manage, and for Fayol, this is a huge problem within the organizational setting, because managers are meant to be leaders, are meant to be not superior in work aspect or because they get paid more, but because they have a vision for where the company wants to go, and they are able to build a relationship with their workers to help build an outcome. Fayol's third principle of management is discipline. This is a crucial principle because workers, as research shows us, tend to get lazy, tend to become apathetic, unproductive, and oftentimes need to be disciplined, need to be checked, because they need to get back to the work at hand, the task that they are hired to do, that they are being paid to do. And there are many ways that one manager or overseer can discipline their employees. Usually, as Fayol finds, that it's best to do such on a case-to-case basis and not to generalize. Unity of command is Fayol's fourth principle of management and states that employees should only have one supervisor. This is because if there are more than two supervisors or managers giving the course of action or telling the plan or giving direction or giving the workload, then things can get confusing. Two managers or supervisors might make a mistake on who they want to do something, and this becomes a problem in everyday organizations and businesses. And that is why Fayol thinks it's best to only have one supervisor that pitches the directions and the demands. Furthermore is the fifth principle of management, which is unity of direction, which states that workers who work in a group or have a similar objective or goal should only work underneath one manager. This is important and crucial aspect for Fayol because that manager has a specific vision of what he wants done for his corporation or organization to be productive. His superior has an idea in mind of what he wants, and that manager is to relay the vision down to the workers to produce. Subordination of individual interest to the general interest is the sixth principle of management, according to Fayol, and it states that the interests of one employee should not be allowed to become more important than those of the group. This includes managers. This is important because in doing so would put one person's interest above the interest of the company or the organization. And in doing that, puts the organization on the bottom tier. It doesn't make it the most important thing. It doesn't make productivity the most important thing, which it is. It should be for a business or organization. Remuneration is the seventh principle of management and states that employee satisfaction depends on fair remuneration for everyone. This includes financial and non-financial compensation. What this means is that workers in a organizational environment rely on each other to carry their own weight, to be there for work, be there for their colleagues in the advancement of their productivity. Centralization is the principle that refers to how close employees are to their decision-making process. It is important to aim for an appropriate balance. This means that workers should know their limits, but at the same time be productive and get their work done. But they also should balance the effort to be productive and also carry on other tasks that they're hired to do. Ninth is scalar chain, which is employees should be aware of where they stand in organization's hierarchy or the chain of demand. This means that a worker that makes $7.25, say, is not the one that should be making decisions and is not the one that should be calling the shots because of his lack of experience and knowledge within the organization. The 10th principle of principal management is order. And this states that the workplace facilities must be clean, tidy, and safe for everyone. Everyone should have this place. Everyone should have this place, a safe place to work, because it promotes productivity. It cleans, it refreshes one's mind to get things done. And I revert to Fayol's history at working in a coal mine, to where he had to have his coal mine in a precise order to get things done, promote a safe environment, to promote productivity. The 11th principle is equity, which is managers should be fair to staff at all times, both maintaining discipline as necessary and acting with kindness where appropriate. This is really a means to an end. In a certain point, Fayol means this in that when managers have to discipline their workers, they should not just be rough and harsh on them, but they also have to be it has to be necessary. It has to be coerced. It has to be thought out, and it has to be planned. Stability of tenure of personnel is the 12th. Managers should strive to minimize employee turnover. Personal planning should be priority. Fayol puts a strong headway on priority and planning, and that if it's important to know what the worker's plans are in the future, because if your worker is not committed to the long-term goal, then that worker is probably not going to be as productive. He's not as committed to the organization as they wish. This is one of the aspects to where it's really crucial and plays a big role in the hiring of employees, because you want employees that are going to care about your cause and want to develop further in the company. 13 is initiative. Employees should be given the necessary level of freedom to create and carry out plans. This is the roadway or path that things are brought up, that ideas are conceived, and that this states that no employee should be shot down because his idea is ridiculous or whatever. That every thought and idea should be heard, because many a times great ideas and means of productivity come about in this kind of way. The last principle is esprit de corps, which is kind of French. So, but this states organizations should strive to promote team spirit and unity. This means that Fayol has recognized and understands that a organization and the business environment and the staff must be comfortable with each other. Once again, it's kind of like almost a community. They rely on each other a whole lot. They depend on each other's work. They depend on everybody has steps and agendas to one big agenda for the company, and all of these steps and processes has to be met for this organization to be successful and productive. I can say that throughout my research paper, I developed a higher sense of understanding of management, and that the key aspects are heavily relied on the group effort. The organization as a whole relies on its workers to carry out its tasks that it's given, and that there's a lot of different ways that an organization or a manager can promote productivity. And I think Henry Fayol's 14 principles are a wonderful outline to being very productive for a business, and it all relies on the relationship and the community and how you discipline, and being cordial in those aspects, but also being serious and being final on the decision that you make. I enjoyed this research paper topic, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. Have a good night.